Hey everybody, it's your boy Nathan Crash, and welcome to Nathan Crash Gets Bodied by the Internet, or just Bodied by the Internet for short. It's the internet's favorite show. If you're not familiar with the format, I'll lay it down to you real quick. Basically, what goes down is me, Nathan Crash, the boy who is talking to you right now. I read stories from either Reddit or creepypasta websites, usually from Let's Not Me or No Sleep, and I basically read them to completion, give my first thoughts and impressions on them, then I give it a 1 through 10 rating, and it's basically the gist. You're more than encouraged to do the same. I would love to hear your thoughts, and all you need to do to play this little game with me is, basically just like, comment, subscribe, and that's basically it. If you want me to be your biggest fan, all you need to do, like for brownie points, is follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Nathan_Crash, where I do this live sometimes, and I mostly play horror games and old people games because I'm an old man. Without further ado, I'm gonna be jumping right into this next one. I should probably put on my glasses. I would like to make a quick note to anyone who's listening to this. I never wear my glasses while doing this, and this, if there's a series where I should be wearing glasses to be doing this, it's a series. If there's a series I do where I should be wearing glasses, this is definitely the one. And I don't know why I never wear glasses. It's honestly, at this point, it's just as confusing for me. This story is by user wishIknewwho. And it's a Let's Not Meet story. I'll leave the link to that in the description below. And it was posted about 2 days ago. This story is called "A Creepy Guy Lurking in the Woods." Let's dive right into it, boys and ghouls. This actually looks kind of fucked up, so let me see if I can fix this real quick. Boom. I think I fixed it. Yeah, looks fine. Alright. This happened about 5 years ago now. I had just gone through a rough breakup of a codependent relationship. So I was going through a phase of trying to be more independent, self-sufficient, and just generally more okay with being alone. I would go to a lot of movies, restaurants, etc. by myself. At the time I was living in Montana, where spending time outdoors is prime recreation. Camping solo seemed like it would be a good exercise in truly being self-reliant. So I packed a little tent and went to Jerry Johnson Hot Springs. Jerry Johnson is a natural hot springs with a few small, mostly natural pools in the mountains on the border of Montana and Idaho. I'm trying to keep this as brief as possible, so I won't go on explaining the place. You can check the link if you want to see it for yourself. What I will say is that it's truly in the middle of nowhere. From the interstate, it's about it's a 1/3 mile hike across the bridge and into the woods. And from the interstate, it's about a 45-minute drive in either direction before you reach any kind of civilization in the form of a gas station. There isn't a motel or anything attached to the hot springs like there are with some. It's just forest land and a few tiny ponds of warm water, and if you ever go, you'll probably be the only person there. There's plenty of daylight, so I decide I'll go soak first and then set up my camp when I'm finished. I make the short hike to find there is a couple, man and woman about 30ish in the main pool, and they look very startled at the sight of me. I say a friendly hello from a distance as I approach. At first they don't respond, just stare. Then the guy pipes up. "What are you doing, man?" I tell him that I'm confused. The man then asks, "Is that you that's been creeping around the woods watching us for the last hour?" I assured them that I didn't know what they were talking about, and they begin to tell me that there's someone in the woods, way off the trail. Apparently they've been yelling at him and he just doesn't respond. He'll walk away into the woods for a while and reappear somewhere else, just watching. After they've been assured that it isn't me, I get undressed and get into the water. Their pupils are huge. They probably ate some magic mushrooms. I never asked, but it just seems pretty obvious. It's not a big deal. It's basically the perfect setting for it, but it makes me think they might just be having a bad trip. We talk for a while, first about the creepy guy and then some other stuff. The mood lightens and they seem relieved to not be alone. I'm a relatively large guy and I guess there is strength in numbers. No more sightings of the creeper. They get out before me. I'm in the pool by myself for about 10 minutes before I hear shouting in the woods. I decide to cut my soak short just in case someone is in trouble. I get out, dry off quickly, and get dressed still mostly wet when I hear another shout. I start quickly hiking. I eventually come across the couple shouting off in the woods, saying things like, "We have a gun," which they didn't. I ask what's going on, and they say the guy was just ominously standing in the path looking at them way off in the distance. When they started to shout at him, he left the path and again retreated into the woods. Now he's out of sight. Through all of this, they never got a good look at him. We walked back to our cars. We decided that we'll camp near each other. There's an official campground, but you have to pay. The guy tells me they know another spot that's relatively flat that would work. I agree and follow them. It's not very far. They set up their tent and I set up mine about 100 yards away. I want to give them plenty of space to trip or whatever, and I was out there in the first place to camp alone. We were in a dry season on raw forest floor, so neither of us made a campfire. I got all set up and just sat around reading a book and enjoying nature. The mosquitoes made me retreat into my tent about 6 p.m. and by 9 I was asleep. At about midnight I was awoken by the sound of screaming. I grabbed my flashlight and .22 pistol. I put on my shoes but didn't tie them, and started running toward the other tent. When I arrived, the two were standing outside their tent with their own flashlights completely losing it. They said the guy had been there and that we all needed to get the hell out of there. They showed me a slice in the wall of their tent that he made with a knife. They haphazardly packed their stuff. It's still They haphazardly packed their stuff in a hurry, and we walked back to the cars. I only then realized that I hadn't grabbed any of my own stuff. I asked if they would go back with me to get it, and they basically said, "Sorry, dude, you're on your own," and got in their car and left. I thought about it for a minute. I could come back the next day and get my stuff, but it was over an hour drive in each direction, and I was there now. I did have a gun, but if I shot someone in the woods, even in self-defense, that would be the beginning of another nightmare that could last the rest of my life. This guy's got a big brain. I respect his thinking process. Alright. It took me about another 20 minutes to get to where my tent was, since I was moving so slowly. I feel like I fucked up. Yeah, I did. I decided to I killed my flashlight, basically went stealth ninja back into the trees surrounding the clearing where my tent was. My thought was that if I was really quiet, then I could hear him, but he couldn't hear me. It took about 20 minutes to... Okay, there we go. It took about 20 minutes to get to where my tent was, since I was moving so slowly. When I got back to my tent, it was untouched. I quickly threw on my backpack, put my flashlight in my mouth, and grabbed my tent in its fully assembled state with my sleeping bag still inside, and ran back to the car with a loaded .22 revolver in my hand, stabilizing the awkward tent being held short of my shoulders, head and back. I got back to my car and drove away. What didn't really occur to me until later is that I never actually saw this guy, and to this day I can't be sure there was actually anyone in the woods. I kind of doubt that these people would have sliced their own tent, but at the same time I kind of doubt that there was actually just a dude hanging out in the wilderness all day and night just to freak these campers out. It's possible that the two campers were just messing with me, but if so, they deserve Oscars for their acting performance, as they seem genuinely terrified. That's the end of the story. Huh. This one's pretty creepy. And like honestly, like real talk, it's the woods ones. Being alone in the woods always gets me, dude. And like, I don't know. It's like you're trying to help people out, and then you're like, "Yo, dude, like I still have to go back there," and they're like, "Nah, dude, fuck you. Like you're dead," and they ditch you. That's how people die in horror movies, you know. So like, this guy, this is pretty creepy. I would say that, like, you know, they might have just been tripping hella hard on drugs, because you know, people on drugs don't necessarily act very rational, like, you know, especially because you don't know it. These people could have been like on acid or something. They could have been really like messed up, and who knows what was going through their heads. And like honestly, kind of stupid idea to like you know, buy into their stuff and go camp with them, because they could have just been murderers. Like they could have murdered you in your sleep or something. Yeah, but like, you know, I'm glad that OP's okay. I don't know, this was a cool story. I really liked it. It was well paced. It said it was long, but it wasn't crazy long. So thank you. I wish I knew who. It was a pretty good story. If you guys go want to check out the story, I'll leave it in the description down below. If you're gonna leave comments and stuff over there, like let the author know I sent you his way, and send him my love for me. But that's gonna do it for this one, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the story. Oh, I didn't even give it a rating. I'm gonna give this one I give this one a 6. This one's a 6. It's a nice solid 6, maybe 6.5, because it's, you know, it's a nice creepy story. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't try too hard. It doesn't do any like, oh, and then the guy jumped out of the woods with like a machete, and like, you know, he didn't say any try hard shit. So I was like, you know, honestly, it was nice, decent story. I really enjoyed it. So thanks. I wish I knew who. It was a good story. It was definitely some better than a lot of the no sleep stories I've been reading lately. So I really appreciate that. Thank you for not being a no sleep writer. That being said, 6.5. It's the jury's out. If you have thoughts, feedback you want to give on the story, go ahead and do that in the comment section. I'd love to have discussions about it. You can have a better, more well thought out opinion. This is just my first impression, as always. You know, the discussions are more for, you know, the structured thoughts and discussions. That's not worth. Like, you know, because if I did that, these videos would be so much longer. They'd be really long because I have to sit there and think about it, and I don't think that'd be fun for anybody to really listen to. But yeah, my knee jerk reaction to the story is like, yeah, it's like a 6.5. I didn't dislike it. That was, you know, the situation itself is creepy enough for me to be like, yeah, that's a pretty solid banger. Like, but yeah. So if you have feedback or anything, or if you want to share your thoughts on the story, go ahead and leave it down below. If there's any stories in particular that you want me to read or review, or, you know, anything like that, video games, whatever the hell, something you want me to check out, I'd say leave that in the comment section. Or if you want to get a little more personal, I guess you can follow me on Twitter and just DM me at its_Nathan_Crash, or you can just tweet at me. Like, point is I try to make sure I get around to like talking to you guys, and like, you know, because I really do like I like suggestions, so, you know, that's always cool. But that's gonna do it for this one, guys. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the video. You know, if you want more content similar to this, keep like throwing comments out there, being like, hey, I'm enjoying these, like that stuff. Like, you know, it makes me feel good, and it makes me just feel great. Like, honestly, I can't even stress this enough. You guys are so supportive and like nice to me. Like, I feel like I'm on like the verge of ranting every time I start talking about this. But like, honestly, like, my experience with YouTube has been tremendously positive. I would say 95% of my experience on YouTube has been ridiculously positive, and that's just because you guys are really nice to me, and you guys are really supportive and receptive to the content I put out. So I appreciate that. You know, basically the only way we've been growing is by word of mouth. So if you guys continue doing that, like, I'd really appreciate it, because you guys have really helped this channel grow in a way that I honestly didn't think was even possible. So, I mean, thank you guys so much. I know it's like tired, you know, but it's like, you know, it's just one thing when you're like, you go from like no one seeing your stuff to like there's people who like are talking to you, being like, oh, I like what you're doing, like, keep doing this more. It's just a real reassuring thing, and it's hard to put into words, but I really do appreciate it. But that's gonna do it for this one, guys. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Just do me a favor, no matter where you are, no matter what it is, just have a good one and try not to get bodied. You guys be safe out there, and don't let the coronavirus get you. Alright, I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye-bye.